Thank you for your patience.
And so then,
Yeah, it works.
just double check to make sure that this is all set. This says online, which is not the case because we
I just went live. You have to refresh.
just make sure that everything's shown.
Use the audio.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
I think we're good. All right. Awesome. Do you want to introduce yourself?
So yeah, I'm Julian Heiser. I'm a computer science major, 4th year, and I do game development just as a hobby. I'm not part of like the GD program or anything, but you know I still make
Not a
games,
problem.
So.
This is quite an intense hobby to have.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I want to make it more than that. I want to be like hopefully a career, but we'll see how that goes.
Totally.
But this is Year Unknown. This is a game I've been working on for like 3 years, longer if you, depending on how you count like working on a game,
Sure.
I guess. But in its current form, it's been around for like about 3 years. It is a narrative-driven game about the very far future, where you have all the information in the game is conveyed through two characters in the game, who in the game story they're AI. They're not really AI. When I started working on this game, I didn't have to clarify that. But
Womp womp.
so yeah, I'll just get started.
Awesome.
And yeah, just a quick content warning. This doesn't really apply for the beginning of the game. Mostly applies at the end of the game, which I won't get to. But I wanted to put like content warning just
Awesome.
in case.
That's very thoughtful.
Is there audio, by the way?
Let's
It
check.
should be coming through. Was there?
Is there audio in there? Or is it? Will I hear it?
If it's coming through, it should be. Should there be audio coming through right now?
Should be.
Should there be audio coming through right now?
It's fine if we go without, but
I think I hear it. It's just typing sounds, right? The digital typing sounds? I hear it.
Give me one second.
I don't think that's it. If it's a high pitched sound, that's not.
There's
Yeah,
some
just
feedback.
Yeah.
Sorry, never mind. I got excited. Well, in the meantime, while Ben's messing with that, can you tell me anything like what inspired this project?
Yeah, so you'll see when the actual game starts in a second.
Mm-hmm.
This is heavily inspired by the game Naissance, which probably, I don't know if you've heard of.
I have not, but I would
Yeah.
like to check it out.
It's sort of like a very artsy, like walking sim, but it's very interesting aesthetic inspired by the manga Blame or Blam, I think I
Oh,
pronounce
cool.
it. And I kind of got to thinking, like, what if I could give that kind of aesthetic like a story? But aesthetically, like, it's very inspired by that kind of thing.
It's funny, I played your demo and I got, have you ever played Outer Wilds? Do you get
Yeah,
that
I was
a lot?
almost-
Or does
okay.
that drive you nuts? I'm sorry.
No, that's actually great because
Like that, like,
So
existential.
the way this started was I made a game called Subdivide way back in. Let me just skip this like intro so we can get to like what the game actually looks like. So the idea is you wake up, you're like, oh, you don't know who you are, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this started way back with a bunch of like I wanted to make a game with more of a story. So Divide was like a very like platformer game, and so it's fine if you can't hear it.
So the game audio is going through
The
on the
audio's
stream.
listening.
It's just not coming through.
That's fine then.
Yeah, sorry, just
All
not
right.
you. But I think you know what it is.
Yeah. This stick is a bit weird, but it started with a bunch of narrative experiments that I did because I wanted to like make a game with like more story,
Sure.
and so I was like, how could I tell a story in a unique way for like a game? And I made a bunch of like quick like prototypes that were kind of bad,
Gotta
and
start
then I played Outer Wilds, and I'm like, that's it. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay, I'm glad it's not an insult. Some people get upset when you compare, but I love that game, so.
And then I was like, okay, so clearly I can't compete with Outer Wilds. Can I do something like different than that game
Yeah.
does? And Outer Wilds has a lot of like you just cover a story from the past. And I was
Yes.
like, can I do something similar where you're kind of the story happens as you go, kind of like a Telltale game where you make choices.
Sure.
And that's kind of where this idea came up with. So, and we'll get to that in a second.
Really
Hold on, let me increase the font size a bit so it's spoilers
Oh,
on
look
stream.
at that.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of this feature.
You thought of everything. Yeah, nice.
All right.
Oh, it was very cool.
So that's where the title comes from. So the main idea of this is that, and that isn't going away. There's the two characters, and there's these terminals you interact with, and instead of like just seeing the information directly, you have to talk to one of the two characters. So, and they'll kind of relay the information to you. And each of them have their own biases and opinions and thoughts, and that's sort of the main like idea is like you listen to what they tell you, you can interact with them. And it's nice because it means that like all of the like information is basically character building.
Sure.
Like you're getting information about like the world and what's going on. Like this person, sorry, say person, AI, I don't know.
You can pack bond with AI at this point. So
yeah, I hate saying AI now because it's like has a connotation with it. But
interface.
so you know they say things. Yeah, they're dialogue interfaces. So they're created specifically to interface with what's called the library, this huge data set, and extract it, like what's useful and what you want to find out. So, which I guess is in a sense kind of like modern AI.
Yes.
So you get like some information, like like there's some people out here, like where you come from, but you can still talk with these. They're characters. They have thoughts and opinions and such. And the game will remember certain things you tell them and certain things they
That's
find
super
out.
cool. Was there a goal that you had, sort of, besides just maybe an emotional response from this game that you wanted people to take away from it? I know maybe that's spoiling a little bit, so if there's a vague answer you can give, or...
I mean, overall, I mean, this game is just like, I want to do something interesting with narrative.
For sure.
And then for the story, it's like, I guess, like you mentioned, like the existential kind of thing, like, a lot of it deals with sort of like this, a lot of media is focused on like dystopias and apocalypses and such.
Yep.
And I was like, what if we like succeed, and there's some media that covers that kind of idea, right?
Yes.
But not really in games, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's not like too common, where it's like, what if we do everything that we set out to do as humanity, right? Like, the idea is this is like way past the supposed heat death of the universe. We've destroyed entropy, so, and it's like, okay, what do we do now? It's kind of like the thing.
Yeah. That's really cool. What was a challenge that you had to overcome while doing this? I'm sure there were many, but if there's a salient one.
Honestly, like the hardest thing is like marketing it, I guess.
Yeah.
This isn't a marketable game. It's...
I think if you say, when people pitch movies, they do, this is a blank plus blank. You could do, this is Outer Wilds plus blank. I don't know.
I don't know if I'm, like, worthy of comparing this to Outer Wilds.
Oh, I think so.
But, I mean, the thing is, like, a lot of games, like, you have the quick pitch where it's like my game is like a platformer with shooting elements. So, okay, it's Mario with guns. And then you show the game and it's Mario with guns. But this game, this is like, it's a narrative game. I can give like the description of the narrative, but like, it's like trying to advertise a book almost.
That's
it's
valid.
really hard.
Well, speaking of a little bit of marketing, what's next for this project, if anything?
I do plan to release this year. I think it's
it was on Steam?
far long enough. Yeah, on Steam.
I put it on my wish list.
Thank you. It's like Drift with this controller, I think.
Yeah, these are probably not our finest.
I was thinking that was my game, and I was like, oh no.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're fine,
okay.
I think.
That's good. At least I
it's
didn't do
just
anything
the
wrong.
Coming to Steam?
Yeah,
That's what
so
you're
it's
saying?
on Steam, on itch. I also put it on because I like itch. So mostly polishing like the later areas of the game, and like just dialogue tweaks. This is, I guess, another challenge. This is one of my first times writing for a game.
Sure.
I guess my first time writing for a game. And it's a lot of dialogue, obviously, because it's so narrative focused. So trying to get that right was a real challenge.
I thought that was a really cool part. As someone who loves books and video games, I thought that was really cool.
Thanks.
And then, what's your favorite part, or what are you most proud of in regards to this project?
I think the like art, like the aesthetic that I managed to get, like you can look here. I'm very proud of this. The sort of like large scale fading into the fog kind of stuff.
Sense of space.
Surprisingly hard to convey a sense of scale. You can make a very big cube, but it doesn't mean it's going to feel like a big cube. You really need like small details to kind of contrast with the big stuff, so that you can actually get a sense of the scale of the space.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like the terminals are.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
and we'll get into like this is kind of a very blank space because I had the intro, but once you get,
sure,
we'll unlock this door here, and then we'll get into the city area, and you can see there's a lot more going on. But yeah, it's a lot of like optimization kind of stuff.
Sure.
Because this game uses baked light maps. We're gonna get a bit technical, I guess.
Sure. Doesn't mean I understand it, but I appreciate it.
So basically, all the map is pre-calculated because real-time lighting would be really annoying and performance heavy.
Sure.
Especially for like shadows, because shadows are really difficult when you have like large-scale environments. So everything's pre-baked into a texture, and it gives this really nice soft lighting look, which looks really nice. But it's a texture that has to map onto everything. So if you have really, really big stuff, you have to put a texture on all of that stuff. So it's a lot of like, I separated it into two kind of models. One is like a high detail, one's a low detail.
Right.
So everything in the background over there is low detail. And I don't even think, like on this stuff, I think I just kept off the light maps. So there's absolutely no lighting on any of these.
I'm assuming you can't fall.
No, there is visible walls.
Oh, good. That's good for someone like me.
Yeah.
I just fall off of everything by accident.
So, I think like stuff like this is using all like kind of the same material, which is
sure.
Like it has this sort of like.
Ooh, I thought it was like marble, but now it's interesting. Like, okay.
And that's kind of like an indication of what like how it works.
Yeah.
Which is kind of expanded upon in the story. But like this kind of stuff over here, I think I put like a fake darker material on it to make it fit in more, because before I was using the same material and it looked like way too bright because there's no shading on it. Sure. So I just turned down the tint and it looks better.
Oh, very cool. So, yeah, like the ominous like goes on forever, fades into the oblivion. That's
but it's
cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of tricks like that just to try to get this into scale, and it's really hard.
That's clever. What would you say is like the duration, like average playthrough duration?
Generally less than an hour, so it's a very short game.
Nice.
But that's kind of what I'm going for. Something that's like maybe $5 and maybe takes you like you beat it in like an afternoon. If you think about like Beginner's Guide and other similar like kind of walking sims.
Totally.
Which I hate the term walking sim, but
yes. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to add as well?
Yeah, I like to talk about like the dialogue system.
Absolutely. Feel free.
One of the things I'm kind of proud of is the little like eye. I just didn't have this dialogue, so it's not going to show up. But at the top, you can see a little expression of the character. Yeah. And that's like just a real time like. I'm using Godot as the engine.
Oh, I was actually going to ask Unreal. Very cool.
Yeah. So and it's been interesting because Godot's kind of been updating as I've been updating my game. So this was started in Godot 3 and is upgraded to Godot 4.
Oh wow.
And has gotten all the features of that.
That's awesome.
And Godot has really cool 2D features that I use for this thing. So there's sort of like a polygon 2D render that I can use to render that out, and then I use a Bezier curve to tell it what points to render, and then I just do a lerp between the points of the Bezier curve and like what I want it to be. I have this set list of emotions, and I render that to the polygon 2D, which renders to the screen.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Basically, it's all allows it to be dynamic, and you don't have weird. You don't have to make a billion animation frames for transitions between all of them.
Right.
And you can go through the dialogue really fast, and it will transition seamlessly. So
that's very cool. Okay, awesome. I think I understand it in layman's terms. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kind of like keyframes, sort of.
And there's this small idle animations on top of that, the blinking.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I didn't notice it until a minute ago. I was like, wait, it's blinking at us.
Yeah, it makes it a little darts down a bit.
Yeah.
It goes back up. And then. And so, we're going to introduce to Bo, the other character, who has a different eye.
Oh.
So different color stacks, different eye and such, so you can differentiate between them. Although they're not going to want me to, they're not going to want to do anything. So I have to do something else before I come back to them.
Oh, okay.
This opening area, like in its
Yeah.
like this has gone through like 5 rewrites.
Wow.
Because
Would you say
it's a
that's
lot
what
of like
Is that what you update the most? The writing, you'd argue?
probably. There's a lot of like iteration on like the structure.
Sure.
It was originally gonna be very linear, but then like how do you prevent people from just walking by a terminal and just never interacting with it? Like they just never learn a crucial piece of
Don't you
information.
yellow paint on it so people know?
Yeah, you got to put the or just put a gate behind it, but then that like sucks. Like nobody wants
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I need to somehow gate information. Like you need to know a certain
Right.
amount of things before you go on, right?
Yeah. I think that's good design.
So what I did is you have these like there's sort of like 3 main areas, and at the end of each area you have to find out a certain amount of information to like move on. But within the area, like everything's non-linear, so I can go to any terminal in order.
I see. Okay. Very cool.
So here, it's the terminal. I need to get the terminal working, but I need a key, which another AI probably has, and I found one, and so I have to go to Bo and convince them to help. So.
That's super cool. Anything else you want to add?
Not that I can think of right now. Do you have more questions?
You kind of answered all of them, but I don't know. I guess like I did ask you like, did you have a goal? But like, if when people step away from this or finish a demo or finish the game, what would you love to hear from them? Like, what do you want them to say? Like, wow, this changed my life. This.
I don't know if I wanted to change their lives. It's kind of scary.
In a good way, net positive.
I don't know. I hope people say it was impactful, you know,
Yeah.
or not thinking about something. You know, I think, you know, games have a huge power to be like something like narratively. There's a lot of potential there that I feel like we barely like tapped into, right? And I feel like Outer Wilds is one of those games that
Yep.
like
Totally.
definitely has gone really far in that space. And I think hopefully this game can get somewhere in there, right? I mean, I don't think this could revolutionize gaming, right? I mean, it's like,
It doesn't have to.
yeah, it doesn't have to. But you know, I hope like either myself or someone else can like build off this to make something similar or do something similar that does, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Julie. You said it's Heiser.
Yeah, Heiser.
Heiser.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Julian, for showing us your game Year Unknown, and you're going to be at Edge tomorrow,
Yeah.
showing it off, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. You
So
good?
just real quick, I want to show off.
Oh, please show off.
This is the actual mechanic of the game. You finally got it. So yeah, you can select the character.
Nice. I see. There you go.
That's it.
Very cool. Awesome. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for your patience and for your time again. Sorry
it's
that
fine.
happened. Thank you. All right. We're just going to end the stream and then I can